To the phones we go, Dave.
Good morning, Don.
Yeah, hi, Dave. You can call me Lefty because I slightly derogatorily refer to you guys as a clown and magician show.
Well, that's pretty accurate.
But I am a regular left-wing listener.
All right, well, good. We'll take that.
Yeah, and my comment was just one thing that I observed. Of course, I abhor Trump.
Yeah.
But that said, in this last election, I think one thing that I never hear you guys comment on, and I think it's somewhat relevant because I do kind of hate to see the demise of the Republican Party as I've known it since '52 when Adlai ran against Ike. I was 7 years old. And what's happening now as the party has moved a little bit to the right, about 10 years ago, Tea Party, that's a little bit out there. Different thing. And then Trump, as like you say, we all know that he is just for him. But I think one thing of merit that Republicans should be aware of is that in this election, he did. I'm surprised that he was north of 75 million votes. I think Biden had like 81 million. But the thing that caught my attention most was that you should be aware of or think about is that down ballot, you guys did gain in the House. So in Georgia, that might be the Stacey Abrams effect, but also in Pennsylvania, some of those Wisconsin, Michigan states, you did elect representatives that were voted down ballot where people, probably a lot of legitimate Republicans, had enough of his posturing and vulgarities. And I call him, I always called him a sociopath in the 75 days between the election and January 20th. I ramped that up to psychotic sociopath. Then he's a pathological liar, a bully, a criminal, a cheater, and by his own admission, a pandemic downplayer and a snatch grabber. So other than that, that's all I got to say.
Well, don't
and there are 35 or 40% of us in Yakima that don't agree with what KIT espouses.
Well, why don't you stay for the conversation? Don't just scamper away.
I'm here.
All right, but you're suggesting that a lot of Republicans voted down ballot, but not him. How do you get to 74 million votes with Republicans turning away from him?
Well, no. You're kind of missing my point, Dave. The 74 million votes is legitimate. That many people did vote for him. That actually surprises me, really. But that's something that.
But that's a gain of how many?
I have to deal with. The part I'm making is like Georgia or Pennsylvania and stuff. There's places where he did not win, and yet you guys did gain in the House of Representatives.
I understand that completely. What you're suggesting, though, is that he gained 10 million more votes than his previous election, and somehow you're saying people did not vote for him in certain pockets. How the hell do you get to that 10 million more if not everybody's rolling? How does that happen?
Well, first of all, just a lot more people voted because there was mail-in ballots, which is a good thing. And in every state, every Secretary of State, mostly they say irregularities is 1/10, 0.3%. Kim Wyman, Republican, Charles Ross here in Yakima. All states went like the election was legitimate.
Because why?
And the fact that there's just way more people voted.
All right, but you can't Don.
Example where Stacey Abrams got out the vote. In the end, he ends up even losing the Senate there.
Don,
but
you can't.
The House of Representatives part.
It's a conversation, Don. It's not a filibuster, Don.
In other words,
it's a conversation, Don. It's not a filibuster, Don. It's a conversation. You let me in, I let you in.
You're well known for your rants on the radio.
It's a conversation. Let's have it.
Well, I'm just invoking that in the paper. A lot of times people refer to Dave's rants.
Yeah, Dave rants. That's what my job is. It's right in my job description.
That was mine then.
Okay, so now can we have the conversation?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. I think you'll have to say, despite my reputation for rants, you have basically said everything that you wanted to say here in terms of degrading the president, degrading the system, and applauding the mail-in ballot system. Now, granted, Washington State's been at mail-in ballots for 15 years.
Yes.
The system is set up and in place. A lot of the places that had problems where it was rammed through to make sure that it happened that way because all of our checks and balances and systems and everything aren't in place. So,
well, okay, and if I could just interject there,
Sure.
And that's legitimate. Let's say Pennsylvania and stuff. You get into states' rights things, and part of that stuff that happened was relative to COVID and not having people, being lined up in things how we've traditionally voted in places before there was mail-in ballot. It is legitimate for each state to look at, I think, like in Pennsylvania, there is actually a deal that there was something run through there where it's supposed to be agreed upon, and instead it was just one faction that changed that to the voting. And there's in each state there are little idiosyncrasies
Absolutely.
like that should be looked at in the intervening.
absolutely.
Because we all want fair elections.
Like
And I'm an
Pennsylvania.
American boy, and I hate this tribalism that we're at. I'm the 82nd Airborne. I'm 76 years old. I was drafted in '65 when LBJ put out the call for the deal, and that was in January of '65. And in May, I got my greetings letter, and third week of September, I was in the Army now. So we're Americans first, and this guy is divisive. Go ahead. I'm sorry I did interrupt you.
You ran out the clock, as they say. We are now seconds
All
away
right.
from news at the top of the hour.
Okay. Thank you for the time.
Don, call back sometime and leave the venom on the sidelines, and let's actually have a conversation. I would love to do that with you. We might learn something in the process. So don't store it up forever and then call in and dump it all, and then we run out of time.